How do you become a duly elected precinct delegate? In August of even numbered years, you have to get on the ballot. In order to do that, you need to file an affidavit of identity, which you can get from the Michigan Secretary of State. She hasn't updated them yet for 2022 and probably won't until 2022. Until then, though, we have in Alcona County, if we pass these bylaws tonight, which I'm pretty sure we're going to work it out and get it done. We can appoint precinct delegates. They cannot be permanently appointed, which means they would be recognized by the Michigan Republican Party until convention time, whereupon I get the forms to submit the names. So we have a method of getting people elevated to a higher status within the party. And appointed precinct delegates are always recognized by Alcona County as precinct delegates. Yes. Attending the meetings is good. We'll talk a little bit about EDO training, which is election day operations, and we'll talk about poll workers, challengers, and watchers. And with that being said, that's kind of my opener. We shall move on to the precinct delegate presentation. Woohoo! So you all got one of these, which is a basic model. It's a very cleaned up version of what I had. The first one I had done, my mom asked me, "What do you do?" This is after, I've already been doing this for 7-8 years now. And she finally asked me what I do. And so I came up with this, which is party structure in a nutshell, and how we get elected and how we elect our leaders all the way down the board. So you'll notice it starts out with the grassroots. That is us. That is the precinct delegates, the hardworking Republicans, the people who put in the work, take the time to come to meetings, listen. You know more than the average bear out there. And you're going to go out and you're going to talk to people and spread the message. That's kind of bare minimum. Attend the meetings, learn something, and tell people. That right there makes you that gives you an electoral advantage. So, precinct delegates are elected for a 2-year term. Appointed ones, they essentially finish out that 2-year term from when they're appointed. I'm just going to do my big notes. I am going to try and see if this works. This is new to me. Oh my God. Woo! I could have murdered you.
I have a hard head, it wouldn't have hurt.
So, grassroots. Then we're going to move down to, I tell you what we'll do first. We'll do the abbreviations. So if you turn it over to the back of the sheet that has the triangle on it, you will see a lot of little letters. PD stands for Precinct Delegate. ACR, that's us, that stands for Alcona County Republicans. And what I should have put below that is ACRC, which is the Alcona County Republican Committee. That is the executive committee of which we have 8 members: Larry, Janie, Molly, Bill, Chris, myself, and Greg.
That's
Did you say
7.
that was 8?
That was 7.
That was 7, and there's Kathy who's not here.
Oh, Kathy. Ha!
Sorry,
I'm sorry, Kathleen, I didn't mean to forget you.
It's okay. I'm not there.
The CRCC is this building, the Chosen Ranch Community Center. CTM is our core team meetings. Usually between our monthly meetings, we'll at least meet once to go over the agenda, to cover any business. That really helps to cut down on how long our actual monthly meetings are. Appointed precinct delegates, permanently appointed precinct delegates, all are welcome to come to our core team meetings. Paid members are also welcome to come to our core team meetings. It's a little bit more insightful as to the party and our workings here in Alcona County. We're special. We do special things. CDRC is Congressional District Republican Committee. And that is our next step up from the ACR. The CDEC is basically Congressional District Executive Committee. Then we have the Michigan Republican Party, which is MRP. And the MRSC is the Michigan Republican State Convention. We get to do a lot of things as precinct delegates, and alternates at the conventions. It's been a shame that we haven't been able to meet in person. Mainly because I get to buy a lapel pin every time I go. I miss that. So finally, we have the RNC, which is the Republican National Committee. Okay. So. So this is our main flow, and I didn't write RNC on the bottom. Holy moly.
Did-
Yeah, I know.
If everybody got one of these, do you really need?
Pretty much. The main reason I was doing it is for the
Oh, for the
recording,
camera. Okay.
so that we can kind of.
I can hold one of these up for the camera.
You know, I thought about doing that. Seriously, every time we cover a section, just hold it up and show it.
I don't think you can really do that very well, unless I zoom in maybe.
No, actually, it does pretty
Oh, there it
good.
goes, there it goes, yep.
It does pretty good. Let's do that.
Cool.
Mom didn't want me to use this anyway. You're using my paper that's been sitting there for 20 years.
Okay, so now if I put this back down, you're gonna have to move that back and
Yep.
and focus on Carrie.
Yep.
I think
And so
everybody's had
that's-
time to
yeah,
look.
Yep, that's
Okay.
time enough.
Cool.
So following down to the county level, we have the Alcona County Republicans. Now, we go ahead and do the county conventions at behest of the Michigan Republican Party. They tell us when the county conventions are to be held. That's it. They set the dates. There are certain rules that we have to follow in regards to electing the voting delegates and alternates, one of which happens to be the order of preference, which I had. Where's my gigantic stack? Oh, it is right here. Anyways, the order of preference basically goes precinct delegate. For our county, it goes permanently appointed precinct delegate, followed by appointed precinct delegate, followed by, help me out, Jamie.
Elected?
I wasn't listening to you.
Oh, well, wonderful.
I'm honest.
Very honest. I really want that sheet. Anyway, you get the general idea. We have an order of preference when it comes to choosing our delegates. We do so by vote. Our meetings usually go pretty well, our conventions go pretty
I think
well.
it's just called a preference point, like it's like
Yeah.
preference point, it's not really points, but you get, if you're an elected official, you have preferences for that kind of
Right.
stuff,
Right.
and, yeah, it's, yeah, I
So
think it's
that's
just called
one of,
preferences.
that's one of the main things that precinct delegates do. They attend the county conventions. I am required to physically mail a call to convention to all of the precinct delegates. And pretty much we've had full convention delegation all along. We here in Alcona County are allotted 4 voting delegates and 4 alternates. That number is based on the precinct delegate allotment, based on the votes of the candidate whom the Michigan Republican Party chooses. For example, President Trump. Prior to that, it was Mary Treader Lang that we based it on. Mary Treader Lang, the votes that she got, our precinct delegate count stayed the same, but I used a slightly different method to allot the precinct delegates. So majority of townships have 4 slots. Mitchell and Millen have 2. The city of Harrisville has 1, because that's our Democrat stronghold. The delegates and voting members of the Alcona County Republicans vote for our chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and trustees right now, as well as, yeah.
I just thought we should explain that the chair determines the number of delegates based on a couple different formulas.
Right, yeah,
So it's not like we pull numbers out of the air, there's formulas we have to choose from.
right, yep. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to do the math. We all know how I am with math, yikes. No, I think I did a pretty good job, not too bad. The executive committee in turn gets sworn in. We do an oath of office. We have meetings, events, fundraisers. We plan things for the Alcona County Republicans to do. Things that lead us towards helping elect our leadership at the township level, at the county level. So we have township board members, which is your supervisor, your clerk, your treasurer, and your 2 trustees. So each township, there's 13 here in Alcona County, has a 5 member board. Except for Lincoln, they have aldermen. They have 3 aldermen, which always throws me off. But anyway, parties within parties. The Alcona County Republicans is a party within the 1st Congressional District. So the 1st CDRC, basically they hold their caucuses. At the caucus, they elect a 25-member board, essentially. Their chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer. They have 6 state committee members. The 6 state committee members have a vote at the Republican National Committee representing the 1st Congressional District. We also have 15 CDEC executive committee members. That is based off of, generally speaking, it's 2 per congressional district as far as representatives go. So ours is the 101, the 103, 104, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 101, 103, and 106 are halved. The way the boundaries are set, they're actually, some of their parts of their county essentially fall into another congressional district. So that's why those only have 1
As of right now.
as of right now. The Michigan Republican Party basically stated that they can't have more than 25 members, so that's kind of why we did that. I know last cycle we had 28. Apparently that was, yeah. They never called us on it, so hey, whatever. Now, the congressional district, the CDRC, works to elect state representatives in the first congressional district, as well as state senators in the first congressional district, and those numbers are listed. They basically look for candidates. They're supposed to vet the candidates, and in many cases, they do an analysis as to how winnable that seat is. Are you getting cold?
I will be. I don't have to move the camera around right now, so I thought I'd get my coat.
Oh, okay. They oftentimes will pick candidates who are, and there are several ways that you can pick candidates. Are they going to be winnable? Are they candidates that have voter appeal? Are they candidates who are going to uphold our values? Are they candidates who represent the area? There's several different factors that the Congressional District Republican Committee takes into account that we don't necessarily take into account. The CDRC, when they're doing their headhunting essentially for candidates, they have a lot more resources, and I will admit there was some infighting, and hopefully they've resolved that now since they've got the new board voted for. The bylaws was a nightmare, and you get that. You do get that infighting, and you also have to remember that just about everybody on the CDRC is a precinct delegate that started out in that grassroots level. Moving on from that, the first Congressional District Republican Committee is a party within the Michigan Republican Party. Now, at the MRSC, which is the Michigan State Republican Convention, Michigan Republican State Convention, they elect their chair, their vice chair, their secretary, their treasurer. There are 5? It's 5 positions, right? 5 vice chair positions.
Yeah, there's
Coalitions,
coalitions.
coalitions, ethnic.
I'm trying to think of the name of them.
I know, I just
gotta tell you who they are, I just can't tell you
totally
what they
blanked, and I wish I had my other sheet. Oh my God, I know where
I can look it up real quick.
I know where they're at. I know where they're at. Coalitions, outreach, grassroots, ethnic, administration, and youth. These are the coalitions. They bring groups together. So say we have the Second Amendment group. Most of them are going to be Republican. Just saying. We're going to bring those into the Republican Party. We're going to invite those people to become delegates. We're going to invite them to join their local parties and to go to their meetings and stuff like that. That's coalitions. Outreach is going after a demographic that we don't normally have. Prime example, I really thought one of the candidates for outreach, it was Brandon Bice. He came up with realtors associations, going to contact them and speaking, starting off with not necessarily the Republican Party stuff, but the conservative message, and seeing if that resonates. If that resonates, then you can pull in that group, and so you're outreaching to that's a completely new demographic. Grassroots vice chair, that's the recruiting of precinct delegates. And this is at a larger scale. This is at the party scale. So they're usually going after places like Detroit, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Traverse City. There is actually expansion into Marquette. We're trying to turn Marquette a little bit more red. It's fairly blue, but we're working on it.
We'll sell for purple for right now.
Yeah, purple's not too bad. I like purple. The ethnic vice chair, obviously, we're talking about minorities, we're talking about black people, we're talking about Asian, Latino, that type of group. Administrative, they're the ones that are supposed to work together with the county parties. And I adore Jerry Hildenbrand. He
was awesome.
He came to our Lincoln Reagan dinner that we had, the 4-county Lincoln Reagan dinner up in Alpena at the Aplex. And he automatically started helping. Moving tables, moving boxes, helping set things up. He really rocked it. And it's really nice to see that here in Alcona County because we often get overlooked. Finally, we have the youth vice chair, which is obviously kids. The college, the young, what is it? The college Republicans.
Republicans, and then it should be high school too in there.
Yeah. And Paul Stevens is great. He's a go-getter.
Second term?
Yeah.
Third term, okay.
Yeah, second term. And these are people you get to know. When you go to convention, you're going to get calls from these people. And it's motivating.
Lots of calls.
Lots of calls, yes. It's motivating, you learn things, you get ideas. And that's one of the things that I love about that, because there are things that I can incorporate in with the Alcona County Republicans. Things that we can do to expand our group. And frankly, thank you all for coming out. This is a stellar turnout. I appreciate that very much. It's fantastic to see. You have no idea how much that means to me. The other thing that happens at the Michigan Republican Conventions is we get to pick Lieutenant Governor, Attorney General, Secretary of State, Board of Education. We get to pick our judges, and we get to pick our college representatives for Wayne State, Michigan, U of M, and MSU.
You might.
And these are the Republican candidates that we're voting for.
Right.
So for, say, Board of Education, we get to pick 2 Republican candidates. We had 4 running for 2 slots, I believe, for Board of Education. We ended up picking Tammy Carlone.
Your sidekick.
Yeah, and her sidekick. I can't remember her name. But
She had a great impact on you.
yeah, yes. Well, no,
But Tammy did.
She did, but I can't. Tammy, I love the heck out of Tammy.
Yes,
I just talked to Tammy on the phone just the other day for probably about 45
Very
minutes.
approachable.
Yep.
I adore her.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to have a voice in picking who's actually going to be on the ballot instead of just getting a ballot and you wonder how that name got there. That's what the precinct delegates do.
Yep.
They pick those
State
names.
delegates.
Yep.
That's a good
Yeah,
thing.
the state delegates, not necessarily. Yeah, we're usually mostly
Precincts
about
go to
precinct
state,
delegates.
Yeah. Well,
But the voting delegates and alternates that are elected at the county conventions to go to the MRSC get to pick these people. And you get firsthand knowledge of who they are, and you can, again, go back to your own communities and disseminate that information, which is invaluable. I really wish we were meeting in person. Finally, as we go down to the RNC level, which could not exist without our grassroots and our precinct delegates. We have the presidential nominee that they help facilitate, legislative branch, congressmen. They're going to make sure that Republican Party members, they're supposed to be vetting them. They're supposed to be helping them out. This is, again, one of the reasons why I think Trump has pulled his image and name from the RNC. They really haven't been doing their jobs. Also, one of the other things that the RNC does is they help craft certain laws. They can affect policy to a minor degree. And that's the kind of backdoor wheelins and dealins. Usually they do very positive things. Occasionally junk slips through. I mean, you're always going to have to deal with Democrats, just like the Democrats are always going to have to deal with Republicans. It's a two-party system, whether you like it or not. That's the way it is. So now that you know the party structure, we're going to go on to the 4-year cycle. Most people talk about the 2-year cycle because precinct delegates are elected for 2 years. But to really see it through, I knew it was going to be long. But to really see it through, the 4-year cycle is the best. Year 1 would be, oh, I wrote it wrong. We're going to change this. So instead of 2020, we're going to start out with 2021. Year 1, 2021, we see a new president put into office. That's where we're starting. We already ran in 2020 and became precinct delegate. Now we see the president put into office on January 20th. He's sworn in. We have, in the year of 2021, we have Congressional District Caucus, which we already had in February. So we elected our leadership there. The main things that we like to do in 2021, it's classified as an off year. Thank you for coming, Karen.
Yeah, thanks, Karen.
It's considered an off year, and so some people get a little bit more relaxed. We try to take that time to fundraise, connect, and train people. We're always trying to fundraise. Year 2, 2022, we have county and state conventions where the precinct delegates in the county party have their county conventions to elect voting delegates and alternates who go to the Michigan Republican State Convention, and they vote on the candidates that we discussed previously. Year 2, we recruit. We really focus hard on recruiting, mainly for election day operations and get out the vote, which is GOTV, which is not one that I put in there. GOTV. It took me probably about a year before I actually asked what the heck that means. Thank you for Janie for telling me it means get out the vote. So election day operations, there's your poll challengers, your poll workers, your poll watchers. Those are the people who were kicked out of the TCF Center. We strive really hard in 2022 to train them so that at the August primary and the November general, we have trained people looking over their shoulders. The challengers get to draw that flag and say, no, this is wrong. These signatures don't match. We cannot count this ballot. I challenge.
It is fun.
Yes, it's fun. It's long. It's a long day, but it is really fun. They're a little hesitant at first that you're there, but you bring donuts and you're cordial and you're nice with the poll workers there. And yeah, as time goes on, you meet some really good people and learn a lot.
Except if you're in Detroit.
Yeah, except if you're in Detroit, and then you gotta fight and claw your way.
Real friendly in Detroit.
Yeah.
Real friendly.
So moving on to 2023, which instead of 2022, it should say 2023.
I just added 2024 at the bottom and left the others the way they were.
Yep.
Instead of changing all the
They
numbers.
say 2023.
I just crossed out the first one. 1, 2, 3,
Oh,
4.
yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. 2023, again, in 2022, you again ran for precinct delegate at the August primary. And you had your midterm elections, whereupon hopefully you have real Republicans in office now. So 2023 is another odd year that some people are a little bit more laxed on, but we try to connect with people, recruit, and train. We also have, oftentimes in the odd numbered years, we'll have millages that come up. They're important. And so we will also talk about millages and get people aware of what they're voting on, because frankly, those things are wordy and confusing. Finally, on to 2024, presidential year. We have the county and state conventions. And at the state convention is where we elect our nominees for lieutenant governor, all that good stuff. No, I'm off. Because they have a 4-year term. We did that in 2022.
Yeah.
So 2024, it's it's at the congressional level. So all those people, again, every 2 years, the representatives get reelected or replaced, hopefully. So 2024, we're again recruiting, training, fundraising, and we're getting our president elected. 2024 is going to be hopefully Trump 2024.
Absolutely.
If a miracle doesn't happen and
It's Trump 2020.
right.
That's really what we're all hoping
Oh,
for.
yeah, we are all hoping for that, but again, that's that realism. Is it really going to happen? I've heard so many conspiracy theories, and they really haven't panned out. But so that's the 4-year cycle. You start out as a precinct delegate in the even-numbered year. You get your president elected, hopefully. You work on your midterms, and hopefully you get in your people, the governor, and all that good stuff. And then in the year 3, again, you run for precinct delegate. And then 2024, you do your president again. So that's why they talk about a 4-year cycle. That being said, that's kind of it for precinct delegate. I take that back. There's one more thing. Precinct delegate between conventions, things that you can do. Attend your meetings. Step in, participate. If you have a topic that you would like me to talk about, let me know. Write your elected officials about the issues. Call them, pester them. Let them know that they're doing something wrong or they're doing something right. Ask the questions. Maintain ongoing dialogues with your friends. We're going to attend and hold events. We're going to hopefully serve on a committee. And you learn about the candidates. You vet them, and you hopefully support one that is going to do what they say they're going to do. So that's it in a nutshell. We're going to go to a Q&A.
So has there been any word about another recall Whitmer? I was kind of expecting that to just cycle right back, and I haven't heard anything.
There has not been word, and
That really surprises me.
I will do my prediction is that it's not going to happen.
I predict that too.
We're getting closer and closer to 2022, and we're working on just voting her butt out.
I heard someone in the last, at least in Epic Times, that someone just brought up a lawsuit against her.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That was like 2 days ago.
The nursing home.
Yeah, but the one was like
Right.
a Pulitzer Prize something or other, like
Really?
the person that was filing the lawsuit, yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a bit against her.
she's definitely losing favor amongst her own constituents. But right now, there is no petition effort that I know of.
That makes me sad.
Did they ever give them a liar test? I'm not exactly kidding, you know, I mean, because
A
these
polygraph,
guys are
yeah.
so, I mean, Governor Snyder, he really flipped the switch too.
Yeah.
And then we've got other.
Well, we are working on, in fact, Bo LaFave in the House
Yeah.
just passed, the House just passed legislation that would open transparency for the executive branch. Essentially, right now, the executive branch is exempt from FOIA requests.
From
His-
what?
From FOIA
Freedom of
requests,
information.
freedom of information.
Oh,
Yeah, of course, right? They don't want to tell anything. So that is one of the things that Bo LaFave spearheaded and got passed in the House. I more than likely will get passed in the Senate. More than
It'll be
likely will
vetoed.
get vetoed.
If you don't know Bo LaFave, look him up. He also introduced articles of impeachment for Whitmer, which he knew up front.
It wasn't
He
gonna-
told everybody ahead of time, he's not gonna entertain them. But at least he
Yep.
represented his constituents by filing the articles of impeachment.
Yep. Bo's pretty awesome.
Young kid. He's what, 25, I think?
Oh, yeah, he's,
Okay,
yeah.
I just missed what you all were saying. What was it about that? Because I think that was awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the ones. Gordon, director, the
Robert
previous
Gordon.
director of the MDHHS, Gordon, they did the court case, they threw out the non-disclosure agreement. So he can talk about why he was fired.
And why he accepted $155,000
Right.
in hush money.
Yep. So hopefully something will come with that, and hopefully it will be another strike against Whitmer.
And
The Secretary of State, yes, she was found guilty of breaking the law in regards to basically regulating that her poll workers be lax in voter signature verification. That's a no-no. The legislature makes the laws. I don't know why they don't get that, but that is how it works in this country. And so, yeah, so she's on the shit list too. Dana Nessel is also not looking very good. She will not take up the case to investigate Whitmer's nursing home lies, essentially. She refuses to do her job in an impartial manner, which she swore under oath to do. So she's definitely not looking favorable. Even the Dems are starting to walk away from these three characters. So yeah, and that's. So do we have any more questions about precinct delegates?
No, but just a comment on that. I just did find it, and Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Charlie LaDuff is the one who is suing. So
Okay.
that's promising. I mean, he actually
Yeah.
is semi-smart, and so anyway.
Okay. Moving on from there.